Hey, it's Karen from A Yarn Tale. I'm coming to you from Chicago, where I live with my husband, our 3 kids, and our dog Max. So it's been a bit since I podcasted because we went away for spring break to Disney World. I didn't want to mention it on the podcast because my kids sometimes look over my shoulder when I'm editing, and we didn't actually tell them until about a week before because we had originally planned this trip for 2020 and had to cancel it, thanks COVID, and I just didn't want to cancel on them twice. So here we are. We were gone for a week, and then things were just kind of busy when we got back. So hi, I hope you guys had a good time off and your knitting was treating you well. I have a bunch of stuff to show you, but also kind of not a lot to show you. I ended up being kind of a monogamous knitter, which is unusual for me, but that means that I made a lot of progress on the projects I worked on, but I didn't really work on that many. So I don't know how this is gonna go. We're gonna give it a try. So I have no FOs, which is kind of embarrassing because it's been almost 3 weeks or maybe even more than that, but oh well. That's what happens when you work on sweaters. But I'm wearing a sweater. I did not knit this sweater. It was a gift from a viewer of this podcast. So there's a woman who watches this podcast, hi Hillary, and she reached out and asked if she could knit sweaters for my girls. And I was like, sure. I mean, sure, they're gonna love that. And she made a pullover for my daughter because she loves blue and pink. And oh my gosh, is this not the most adorable thing you've ever seen in your life? I'm not actually sure what the pattern is. I should probably have asked her, but I didn't. But it's just a beautiful raglan sweater in her favorite colors, and she wears it all the time. And then she made a rainbow cardigan for my youngest daughter. I can't even show it to you today because she has worn it to school for since she got it. So I'll pop up a picture of her wearing it in Florida because she insisted on wearing it pretty much everywhere we went, which is the highest compliment that you can get from a 5-year-old because truly, she has worn the sweater that I made her, I would say 1 time under duress. So thank you, she loves it. And Valerie also made me a sweater, which is ridiculous. I mean, I can't imagine, but it is lovely. It is perfect. I love the color, I love the fit, and I just can't get enough of it. So it's super soft and squishy, and I'm just blown away by the kindness. I mean, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, what else? So that's what I'm wearing. And let's get into what I've been working on. So I have a couple of fixes. You may remember these socks that I knit a long time ago. And I finally put the cuff on, but then I realized that I had knit an extra repeat on the one sock. So I went ahead, I thought at first that it wouldn't bother me and I would just scrunch them down and call it a day. But then as it turns out, it did bother me. So I ripped it back. I went ahead and ripped it back. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen, because I recorded it. But I need to just pick up the stitches and reknit the cuff. It's only 12 rows, I believe, of ribbing. And then I still need to cut in the heel. I mean, talk about lazy. I don't know. I put a little marker where the heel is supposed to go, and I just need to cut it in like I did for this one. Right in between the green and the purple. It is not hard to do. I could probably knock it out in a morning. I don't know why I've just been putting it off, but I'm going to show it on the podcast, hoping that it will motivate me to actually complete this project because I have worn through all of my hand knit socks. This is my only pair. So I need to finish them because I need to wear them. So that's that. The yarn is Nomadic Yarns, self-striping yarn in the colorway Old Friend, and it is lovely to work with. It's 75-25 superwash merino and nylon, and I'm hoping that it will be really hard wearing because I have really high arches and I'm just so hard on my socks. I always just wear a giant hole in the ball of the foot, and I'm gonna cross my fingers that doesn't happen. And if it does happen, I'm gonna learn how to darn socks. So watch this space. Okay. So other whips, like I said, I don't have that many that I've been working on because I've just been plowing away on a couple. And the main whip that I've been working on is this. Okay, I'm gonna take it out of this bag. This is a beautiful project bag by Miss Ginger Handmade, and I'm gonna talk more about her because she makes amazing bags, and we're gonna use some of those bags for prizes for the knit along. So this is the bag that I've been using. It is lovely. It's a drawstring bag. Look at this fabric inside. Oh my gosh, lemons. There's pockets inside, and it just cinches up. Here, wait, how do I do it? Nice and tight, safe for your yarn, nothing gets caught. And you can fit a ton in this bag, and I say that with confidence because I've had my sweater project in there the whole time. Okay, these are my swatches. So this is the main thing that I've been working on pretty much. I brought it while we traveled, which a mohair all over colorwork sweater is maybe not the best project for Florida or for the airplane, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. This is all that I really want to work on. And so this is has gotten the lion's share of my knitting time since I last podcasted. So this sweater is the Spot Sweater by Ventzel. It is knit out of 3 strands of mohair. Hang on, my mohair is rolling away. These are 3 colors of Filcolana Tilia, which is, I think I have the bands. I do, okay. It is 70% kid mohair and 30% silk. I don't remember the colorway names because they're not on the ball band, but they are on the website. But there's like a yellowish, a cream, and then this tan color, which I'm fairly certain is latte. And together, they form the background color of this sweater, and it's just a beautiful, neutral, muted, kind of creamy, yellowy color. And it's so fluffy, I don't know. Oh yeah, look at that fuzz. It's so good, okay. And then the contrast color is Filcolana Pernia in the colorway, I don't think that band is in here. Of course it's not in here. Well, I'm not sure what the colorway is. I'll put it down below, but it is the recommended yarn and colorways from the sample sweater because I was just really obsessed with the photos. So, you know, sometimes I always think like, oh, I should be more adventurous and pick my own colors, but then who am I kidding? We all know I'm just gonna make what I see. So this is an all over colorwork pattern. I talked about the cast on and the first 12 setup rows in the last podcast because you start out knitting flat, which was truly a bear to knit stranded colorwork flat. But it was only 12 rows, and now there were some raglan increases where the pattern perfectly lines up. I mean, check that out. It is so pretty. And then I separated for sleeves, and now I'm just knitting color work in the round, which is lovely. Actually, it's so nice. I feel like, I can't tell if it's because it's mohair or because you just don't have to carry the floats that long, that I really don't have to worry that much about my tension. It doesn't seem like it's puckering or pulling. Like these are my floats on the inside. I haven't caught them in any way. So the longest one is just at the base of the triangle. I think it's 5 or 6 stitches, not that bad. So I'll just continue knitting down to the hem, and then I have to pick up for the collar, which based on the Ravelry notes, a lot of people had issues with the collar. So I'll sort of cross that bridge when I get to it. And then it's a giant folded down collar. There's a little bit of ribbing at the bottom, and then sleeves with a little bit of ribbing at the cuff. But all in all, it is actually a surprisingly relaxing knit now. It's just a really good rhythm. I don't have to look at the pattern anymore because it's really easy to read your knitting because it's just the same pattern all over the place. There's no more increases, there's no more decreases. It's just sort of straight knitting just with 2 colors. So it's really good practice for my color work because I'm still not the best at it. But I feel like this sweater actually hides my technical difficulties way more than I expected. I don't know if it's the fuzz of the mohair or what, but this looks pretty good. So I'm happy with that. Modifications I made. I am knitting the smallest size. but my gauge kind of increased. So I knit my swatches flat because I was really worried about how I was gonna do stranded color work flat. So I used my swatches as practice for flat knitting of color work. But that means that I didn't have a gauge swatch for my color work in the round, and I just did not have it in me to knit 3 swatches where, you know, the 2 knit flat and then to do yet a 3rd one in the round. So I just cast on, knit the flat part, and then started knitting in the round. And once I got far enough down that I could kind of measure my gauge, I measured just on the piece itself and realized that it was pretty loose. It was, I don't remember because I didn't write it down, but it was looser than I wanted it to be. So I was worried that I would end up with this giant sweater. So I just went down a needle size and then kept knitting in the round, you know, doing the raglan increases. And that seemed to tighten it up a little bit, but it was still a little bit looser than the pattern recommended. And again, I don't remember how much more. I feel like it was almost a full stitch looser than whatever the pattern recommends. So I was like, shoot, my sweater is gonna be pretty big. I mean, I did the math. It wasn't like ridiculously big. Like I still would have been able to wear it, but it was gonna be pretty oversized, and this is already an oversized sweater. So I ended up doing fewer raglan increases than the pattern calls for. I believe I cut out 2. So if you count the triangles, like 1, 2, 3, 4, however many rows, I did 10, I believe, in the front before I stopped doing raglan increases, and the pattern calls for 12 full triangles. So, you know, of the darker color. So I separated for sleeves sooner because it was getting really deep and really wide. And I was just worried that it would end up like really, like the armpit of the sweater would be down here. So I'm like, well, I don't think I would like that. So I separated a little bit sooner. And then that means that my stitch count is off. I believe I kept the sleeve count the same, and then just there were fewer stitches on the body. So whatever. I did try it on not too long ago, and I think this is a good fit. Like, it's hard to tell, but it's still pretty oversized, but not in a bad way. So I think I got it right. When I started knitting in the round, after I separated for sleeves, I did have a situation where I ended up with 2 extra stitches on the body. And I, for the life of me, cannot figure out how that happened because I counted my stitches and it was good. I mean, I was right on track, and it's a full all over colorwork pattern. And so if there's a screw up somewhere, I mean, you'd notice. You for sure would notice because it wouldn't line up. So here's my end of round, right? Oh my gosh, there's so many bits. Here's my end of round right here. And the pattern is supposed to line up as you go around, and it is doing that. So what I ended up doing, here's where I realized that I had 2 extra stitches, and I was like, shoot, well, now my colorwork pattern is gonna look, there's gonna be a really bad jog there. So I didn't want to go back because it's 3 strands of mohair, and ripping back mohair, I know you can put it in the freezer and it's supposed to be better, but it's still kind of a bear to rip back. And I didn't even know what I was looking for. I mean, like, where did I screw up? I looked all over and I just don't see anywhere that looks like a mistake in the pattern. And my raglan increases, they look so good, and they totally line up. I mean, like, check this out. The triangles line up exactly. So like, that looks so good. Where did I screw up? I don't know. That's the back. Even the back lines up. So I kind of didn't want to mess with it. You know, it's like if I rip back, looking for this theoretical mistake, that made those 2 extra stitches. I just thought I'd make more headache for myself. So I ended up just knitting 2 together a couple times underneath the sleeve, right in the underarm. I don't even remember which arm I did it. I think it was the one by the beginning of round. I think it was this one. I just knit 2 together and kept on going. So as far as I'm concerned, those extra stitches did not happen. They're not there. Nobody knows about it. And there's no way you can see. I mean, I don't even see where I knit 2 together. And so now my colorwork pattern lines up. I'm just knitting in the round and it is glorious. I would completely recommend this pattern. I know it was really hard to start. I had to watch all those videos and figure out what was going on with the stranded colorwork flat. But once you start knitting in the round, it is lovely. And it's actually kind of my relaxing knitting. I was able to do it on the plane, no trouble. Actually, the flight attendant was a knitter herself and she was super into it. She was like, oh my God, what are you making? How did you do that? What's that yarn? I was like, you don't have work to do? Great, come on over. So we had a little knitting powwow on the plane, which was really nice. And I'm just really excited. I'm a little sad that it is springtime, and by the time I finish this, there's no way I'm gonna be able to wear it because it is incredibly warm. I mean, even trying it on for fit, half a sweater, I was like, woo, this is toasty. So that's for sure gonna be a winter of 2022 sweater, but it'll definitely be something to look forward to. So this has taken the lion's share of my knitting time, and I love it. And I'm not gonna knit another one, right? Because that would be ridiculous. But if you look on Instagram, there are all these beautiful rainbow fade mohair spot sweaters, because there was some knit along last year or the year before or whenever, and people use scraps of mohair, and it's stunning. So I kind of wish I'd been more adventurous, but there's no way I could have worked that out with the flat. It was just too much to think about. Adding in kind of color planning on top of that I would have just not done it. So I would have quit. So I'm glad I'm doing this. And I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, that's the spot sweater. What else do I have going on? I did no work on my Schneeflocken. And one of the people who watches the podcast actually knows more about this than I do and let me know that it is Schneeflocken, which sounds so much nicer. So my Schneeflocken pullover, I have done nothing on. I'm gonna take it out because maybe it will motivate me to actually pick up for the collar and finish it. You may remember from last time, this is my Schneeflocken from Sarah Solomon. It's an Oliver colorwork yoke sweater that is almost done. I just need to do the collar and I need to graft the underarms. Which I don't even know how to do that. Is that just Kitchener stitch? I gotta look that up. I assume it's some kind of Kitchener. So this will for sure be done next time. We were traveling and I didn't want to bring 2 full sweater project bags for a trip to Disney World, because we all know I'm not knitting during the day. It's just at night. I watch the Love and Stitches podcast with Natalie, Nitty, and she loves Disney World, and she has all these videos where she's knitting on socks at Disney World, like walking around with this little work in progress. But man, my Disney experience was a lot more intense because we have 3 kids under the age of 5, 7, and 11, and there was a lot of wrangling and like herding of children and line swapping with different rides, because different people are different heights and different people, not everyone likes roller coasters, even though I kind of refuse to acknowledge that. We pretty much just made my youngest go on the roller coaster. She was like, I feel really nervous, Mom. I'm like, that's normal, get in. So I hope I didn't cause permanent psychological damage. But yeah, we had to kind of swap out who was on what ride with whom, and there was just not a lot of time to knit during the day. And even at night, we were pretty wiped out. So we pretty much just went to bed. So most of my travel knitting was done on the plane, but I did a decent amount of knitting on the plane. So I didn't want to bring 2 full sweaters because, how many sweaters do you need for a plane trip? that's kind of a rhetorical question. You bring whatever you like. But I didn't get a lot of work done on the Schneeflocken, but I plan to. So hopefully next week I'll have a finished pullover. I also, as far as whips I have not worked on, remember my woodblock tee that I was gonna do for Disney World? Okay, well that clearly didn't happen. And in fact, this is it. It's on stoppers because I cannibalized the needles for something else. I don't even know what I use them for. Maybe the spot sweater? Hope it's not the same needle. Maybe it is. I'll have to look it up or watch my old podcasts. I actually have been really bad about updating my Ravelry pages because if I need info, I can just go back and watch the videos. But I'm hoping to do the woodblock tee as well. I actually rewound the ball, hoping to deal with the twist issue. So I haven't even tried it out to see if that worked. But I'm home now and I'm getting back into it. The other thing that I am working on, this is really my only other work in progress, is for the knit along. So if you're new here, we are in the middle of a knit along that is called the Knit Us Together 2022 Knit Along. And it is knitting any tin can knits pattern from now until June 20th. You can either enter on Instagram using the hashtag KnitUsTogether2022 or there's an FO thread on Ravelry. There's a group for this podcast, and so if you poke around in there, you can enter in the Ravelry group. If you're not on Ravelry and you're not on Instagram and you still want to enter, just email me at ayarntail@gmail.com and I'll be sure to enter you. You can enter both places, and I would highly recommend that you do so because it'll up your chances. I'll pull winners from both places. So if you're not on either, just go ahead and email me your FO picture and I'll make sure that you get entered for prizes. There's also a Discord for this group. It's kind of like there's only a couple of us over there because I keep forgetting to post the link, but I'll post it down below. The link I think is only good for a week. So if you try to click on the link and it's not working, maybe that's because it expired. Email me. I'm still trying to figure out what is possibly going on. I'm sort of a dingbat when it comes to Discord. So it's a work in progress, but if you want to come on over and chat about the knit along or just generally, I would love, love, love to hear from you. But in the meantime, I cast on a love note for the knit along. Love note is a top-down pullover with a lace detail at the top. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, but if you have not, you should check it out because like thousands and thousands of people have knit this pattern. And it's at a DK gauge, but they recommend a fingering yarn with a mohair, and you know I cannot turn down a good mohair. So I am knitting it out of a KnitUsTogether yarn. Oh good, the thing is in here. Okay. KnitUsTogether is a local dyer that they stock a lot at Nina Chicago, my local yarn store that I go to the most. So this is the KnitUsTogether baby feet sock. It is 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and 10% tencel in the colorway Flock of Seagulls. And I love KnitUsTogether yarn. I use it all the time. She has just really good colors, tonals, and so this is mine. I tried all sorts of different color combos, but I just came back to gray because let's be fair, that's what I wear the most. So my mohair is a Shibui mohair. I forget what their mohair is called, but it was on sale, so it was like not quite $1 bazillion. It was like $500 million because Shibui yarn is super pricey. But I'm holding them together and I really like the fabric that it's creating. The love note is knit at a really loose gauge, so it knits up really fast. My hesitation is that I totally screwed up the lace pattern and I can't figure out where I screwed it up. I'm halfway through the first lace repeat. There are 2 for my size and it's all messed up. It's my own fault. I know that Lace and I have a complicated relationship where basically I'm not good at it. And I always mess it up. I love the look of it, and I just always want to make things that have lace patterns. But man, I think I just get too distracted and I can't stop talking to people while I'm knitting, and then I just mess up the pattern. So I know this about myself, and I know that the best way to avoid that is to use stitch markers for each repeat, and then my stitch count doesn't get off, or if it gets off, I can notice it in 12 stitches or 20 stitches or 15 stitches, and not, you know, after I've knit 200 stitches. Except I didn't do that for this. Like, why didn't I put stitch markers in? I don't know. I just didn't. I think I got to the lace panel when I was out. I brought this, my kids do sports over the weekend, and while they do their activities, I hang out. There's this area that has like couches and coffee and whatever. So I was in the living room area of this place, and I'm knitting, and I got to the lace section, and I was like, shoot, I should really do stitch markers. Only I didn't have my stitch markers with me. I only had like 3 or 4 just in the bottom of the bag, but I needed like 16 or 15 or however many repeats there are. So I was like, I mean, I should put it away and just do that part when I get home. I mean, or I could just try it. So of course I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. So I made it so far. So the pattern, the lace pattern is like a 10 row pattern, and I got all the way to row 10, and I messed it up on row 10. So I just need to rip back. I don't feel like doing it because it's mohair, you guys. It's mohair. So whatever. I will do it. I will do it. And I know once I fix my lace and I use my stitch markers, I can knock out this love note in like 2 weeks, because everybody says they can do it in a week. So I for sure can do it in 2. But right now it is hanging out in a bag in the back of my closet because I am annoyed with it. Yeah, so that's the last of my whips. I would highly recommend, if you have not cast something out for the knit along, you should do it. There's hats, there's mitts, there's there's full colorwork sweaters that people are doing, but there's also a lot of smaller projects if you just wanna, you know, knit along and have a chance to win some prizes. Anything is eligible. Baby stuff, adult things, kid sizes, anything. As long as it's a tin can knits pattern, I'm cool with it. If you've already started it before the March 20th cast on date, who cares? Or March 15th, whatever day it was, who cares? Whips count, everything counts. So go ahead and post your photo in the Instagram hashtag or on Ravelry and see if you win some prizes. We have tons of amazing prizes already, and I wanna show you some of them. So first off, we had some yarn donated by Valerie, my most amazing podcast viewer who made this sweater. So I'm gonna show you what there is, and there may be more if I decide to go pick up some stuff, because you know I can't not pick up yarn for the knit along. I mean, who doesn't want some yarn? So we have 3 skeins here. This is Suburban Stitcher. I have not used their yarn yet. This is their sock base. It's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 460 yards for 100 grams. And this is the colorway Shelter. You guys, it's so pretty. It's like this beautiful gray lavender color with these brown speckles. So lovely. The next yarn we have is by Fine Fish Yarns. It's the merino single, 366 meters. And it is in the base, I believe it's, or the colorway Bacall. I think that's what that says. That might be reversed for you. So I don't know how that's gonna work out for you, but it's a beautiful colorway that's just got tons of depth and variation in there. There's like grays and browns and this like pop of green that I just love. So there's this skein, and then the last one that I've got right here is from Life in the Long Grass. This is their fine sock-based 75-25 superwash merino nylon in the colorway Fuller's Clay. This would be perfect for a pair of socks, whatever else you choose. So thank you so much, Valerie. I really appreciate it. We're gonna give those away. And then I've also arranged to purchase 2 project bags from Mrs. Ginger Handmade. So we will have 2 of these project bags to give away along with the yarn. And we also have some patterns from Knitting in Mauritius. So I don't know if you remember, one of the podcasts I watch all the time is Knitting in Mauritius. It's a really fun podcast, and she has just started pattern designing, and she has some really beautiful sort of inventive patterns. Really fun. So she's generously donated some of her patterns to the giveaway. So please, please, please don't forget to post your FO photos in the Ravelry group and the Instagram hashtag before June 15th, I believe. Then the only other thing that I have is I got a couple of things in the mail. And one of them, so I was on Amazon and I was poking around looking at knitting stuff because like, I just like to see what's out there, right? And I found this. And like, isn't she the cutest? It's made of wood and there's a little needle inside and there's these metal hooks at the top. And it just said, I mean, as only Amazon can do, the listing was like knitting tool, right? And it was under $10. I don't remember how much it was. But I was like, what kind of tool is that? And there was really no indication on the listing what it could possibly be. So I was like, I'm gonna get it. I wanna look at that. So I got it and it came yesterday. And like, what is it? It looks like a loom, right? Like there's these loops at the top. Like I feel like you could do basically like finger knitting on this and make kind of an I-cord type loop, you know, string, like a tube. But what would you use that tube for? I mean, I'm gonna try it. I haven't done it yet. I haven't even Googled it. I haven't even like gone down the YouTube rabbit hole of whatever the heck this might be. If you know what this is, can you pop it in the comments? And if you know what you would possibly use the knitted like strand that will come out of this, what do you use those for? For like, I don't even know, like a really weird looking bracelet, or I mean, I don't know. I have to figure it out before my children take it away from me, because I mean, who would not want to take this away? It has only been sitting on my table for a day and my kids are like, what is that? It's like magnetic. They just want to use it. So if it's something that kids can use, I would love that too, because my girls are 5 and 7 and they can knit a little bit, but they still kind of don't have the motor dexterity that you need to really get going on knitting with needles. And so I've showed them a little bit finger knitting and they like that, but if this is something that they can use, they would also be super into that because it just looks fun. So I will report back. That was fun. And then I did get a little bit of yarn. So I was on Knit Picks, as you do. And I got, I ended up getting some Swish DK because I thought like, ooh, maybe I'll make a hat. And I've just kind of been obsessed with this color. This is their Swish DK in Haze Heather. It's like a beautiful lilac color. And I really want to try to make a brioche hat. I've been looking around for patterns and there isn't, I don't really want like a complicated brioche where they're all interlocking with all these increases and decreases. I was kind of just thinking straight brioche that you have like kind of a giant brim. Maybe I'll just make it up myself. I truly like a brioche tube with some decreases at the top and maybe like a folded over brim at the bottom. I don't know. I'm gonna work on that. So I got it in this color, and then I got this green tea heather also in Swish DK. But I kind of thought it would be brighter, like more like a springy, like new leaf color. This is more muted. I mean, it truly is green tea, so like, good job with the name. But it wasn't really what I was going for. So I don't know if I want a hat in that color. I do like it, but I don't know if I like it for a hat. I mean, maybe like mitts. So I got that going on. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with that, but I'll do something. And then I also got an extra needle. Oh, it's not in there anymore. Oh, here it is. Okay, I got an extra Knit Picks needle. It's just a 16-inch size 4 needle because I was thinking I could use that for the hat, and I think my size 4 is in use. And I don't think I have another one, but I might have another one. I might have like 6 of them, and I just am not sure where my fixed circular needles are kind of all over the place. So figured I'd just get an extra. I've never used a Knit Picks needle before, so I'm interested to see how that goes. I'll let you know. So I got that, and I think that's all for purchases. I've been trying not to buy yarn because I do have a bit to get through. So that's all I got. I hope you guys are doing well. I sincerely hope that it warms up a little bit here. It's been super cold, like 30 degrees cold, and it actually snowed yesterday. I mean, it didn't stick, but there was a decent amount of snow coming down. So it doesn't feel very springy, but I'm hoping the way Chicago goes, one day it's 30 and the next day it's 70. So I'm kind of hoping that we get one of those nice days pretty soon, because I could use it. I could use it. But anyway, I hope wherever you are, things are going well, and I love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, and I'll talk to you soon. Happy knitting. A yarntail.com, wait, no.